And I'm going to do more social actions. Why? It's fun helping others. It's spiritual helping others. It gives us a purpose. Pick, help everybody, help animals, bring a smile to an old person's face, bring a smile to a young person's face, bring direction to a young person, save an animal that's been abused, or sit home, eat, watch TV, look at your ugly husband, look at your fat wife, watch the stupid television, hate the world, and go to sleep. Doesn't that sound familiar? Very familiar. Not so violent and ugly lot, but it's just very dreary when we don't do things for others. When we do things for ourselves, it's very dreary after a while. Honestly, when we die, when we die, I think the biggest regret and the thing that makes people bitter, that makes people older bitter, younger bitter, or anyone bitter and unhappy and very unsatisfied and unsettled is a sense that your life was worth nothing, that your life was amounted to nothing, that your life gave nothing, that your life wasn't worth anything to anyone else, that you affected nobody. So I think the thing that makes people the most unhappy and the thing that makes the people most sad and the thing that makes the people most angry is when they know that they've lived their life just taking care of themselves, just being selfish, just eating and sleeping, and just having kids or having a few dogs, and then just having a car and house. And then everybody has flashed in their mind, is this all? Is that all I've done in my life? Everybody's an ant, a bee can make a house, a bird can make a nest and feed a young. What have I done? So the biggest thing that really bothers people is when they look back in their life and they say, what did I do for anyone? And your kids and husband and wives don't count. Your partners don't count. What did I do for anyone? How did I live my life? And that's what really bothers people a lot. And we should instill our children and young people with a higher thought, the thought of benefiting society, the thought of helping others, the benefit of working and taking time out for others. You know why? Because when they get older, they'll be happier people, not so bitter. Less crime, less divorce, less separation, less fighting. Fighting, crime, divorce all comes from dissatisfaction with ourselves. It all comes from that. And if you keep going the same way, just get married, just have kids, just have a job, just pay your bills, just on weekends go to discos, have some fun, look for a boyfriend, look for a girlfriend, you know what? You're totally wasting your time. You're wasting your time from whatever angle you look at it. Totally wasting your time. Why are you wasting your time? What is that going to amount to? You say, oh, I'm young, I have time. That's right. But you know what? When you're young and you do nothing, you end up being old and doing nothing. Do you know why? You don't become old and suddenly become a saint. You have to have the causes. People respect old monks is because they created the causes to be monks their whole life, and we really prostrate to them. If you become a monk yesterday, just say, oh, move over. So a sense of having not done much with our lives, or a sense of using our lives just for ourselves, really, really makes people bitter, makes people unhappy. And at the end of their life, they really feel ugly. Let me give you a wonderful story, a book written by some doctor, I forgot his name. And there's one section about this man who basically was a drunkard, useless, didn't achieve anything, very angersome, people can get along, didn't have any friends, and he got cancer. So he couldn't deal with it in himself, so he had a counselor. And the counselor came to talk to him. And he was very angry, and he just ranted and raved about everything that was wrong in the world, everything that had gone wrong. And pretty much he started to keep talking and talking and talking. And this doctor says, I can't change anything and I can't reverse anything, but I can listen to you and I can visit you once a week, and I promise to do that. So he did that. He did that. And during their interviews and during their therapy, it came out that the guy was very angry with himself that he's dying, and he had done nothing for no one. Nothing. He had done nothing for nobody at all. And his whole life has just been wasted. And he's very worried about that. So he was angry at himself. So he showed his anger to everybody else. So the therapist said, what would you like to do? Let's do something. And this guy had an idea. The church that's nearby needed an air conditioning system. So the therapist said, why don't you go and do that? the guy says he's got the knowledge. He says, why don't you go and do that? So the guy went to the pastor and talked. And the pastor was very open and very happy and very giving and said, sure, come and do it. We really need it. And take your time, no rush. So every day, this fellow will go and fix up the air conditioning. And he was very touched by the people at the church because every day they bring him sandwiches and coffee. And they just showed him love and acceptance. And they didn't judge him. And they didn't look at what he did or didn't do. And that taking care of the air conditioning for the church healed him. So finally, many months later, he was dying. I mean, it was the last, and they were pulling out the intravenous. And the therapist came to see him. And so he was trying to say something in bed, but the therapist couldn't hear him. And he went closer. And this guy the dying guy said to the therapist, thank you for saving my life. And the therapist was like, you're dying. He said, no, thank you for saving my life. And you know what's so beautiful? Is it changed the therapist. The therapist got therapy. That saving someone's life wasn't about living how long. It was about how you lived. It's about what you did when you were alive. It isn't how long you live and just eat and exploit the planet, but it's how you lived. And this guy found peace towards the end of his life because someone listened to him. Someone gave him hope. Someone said, you can be something good. So this guy went and set up an air conditioning system for the church. The church was very, very appreciative, and it moved him. And when he was doing the air conditioning system for the church, no more anger. He didn't lash out at people. He didn't fight. He became the real person he was inside that Buddha talks about. Clear light, clear mind, kind heart. And his anger left. His hatred left. His self-hatred left. And this is not religion. He didn't go to the church to pray. The therapist didn't teach religion. He taught him something what every single human being needs. If you live for yourself, you will be unhappy. You will be angry. You will make people around you angry. You will always make yourself unhappy. Let me tell you why. Because you're angry with yourself. Because you hate yourself. Because you hate what you've become, what you've been doing, what you're becoming, and where you're going. You hate yourself. And you know what? It doesn't go away by keeping quiet. It doesn't go away by hiding. It does not go away if you just avoid it. It gets bigger. And this hatred for ourselves is the cause of our anger. And this hatred for ourselves comes from doing nothing for others. Just me. People might justify and say, hey, I'm taking care of my kid. I'm taking care of my wife. I'm taking care of my husband. That's not a big deal. Everybody's doing that. It doesn't mean you're a saint. It doesn't mean you've done something extraordinary. It just means you had bubbly, had an accident. You got to take care of it now. That's it. For those of you who don't know what bubbly is, let me explain. It's sex. There I go. There you go. I said the dirty S word. So let me not say it anymore. Let me just say bubali. What language is that? Tsem language. You won't find that in the Tibetan Webster's dictionary. All right, so just because you had bubbly, you had a kid, and you had an accident, you look at the kid and say, uh-oh. Doesn't mean you're a saint, doesn't mean you're doing a good job, doesn't mean you did something wonderful. It just means you're another dog with a puppy litter. No big deal. So we hate ourselves, and we express it by anger toward others. You know why? Because we know we've done nothing with our lives. We know we failed. And you know what? Making a lot of money gives you temporary happiness, but it's not really it. That's why when people join a Dharma center or a church or a synagogue or a mosque or a Sikh temple, it doesn't matter. And they're doing a great job, and they help dogs, they help the animal shelter, they help the sick, they help the elderly, and they give and they donate. They feel really good. Do you know why? Because when they do something good for others, their anger calms down. Do you know why their anger calms down? Their anger calms down is because they start to feel self-worth. People look for self-worth in a relationship. Hey, if I get the most beautiful girl in the world and she's gorgeous, she's sexy, and she's wonderful, and I walk around with her, I made it. I got it. I'm it. You can be a gorgeous, beautiful, fabulous, tall, dark, and handsome stud like I was. And then after a while, you end up like this. And this isn't it. It doesn't stop here, okay? It doesn't stop here. If you look around you, it gets worse. And if you're a beautiful princess, you know, you got great hair, you got great lashes, and it's not even false, and you're walking around blinking at everybody. In the KH, not all guys got fruit, so you keep your blinks to yourself. Anyways, and you know, you're gorgeous and you're blinking here and there. But you know what? It's going to fade. And then what? And nothing happens. So don't rely on everything external alone. Maintain. I mean, don't walk outside, you know, smelling like garbage and never combing your hair. Maintain yourself. I mean, look clean. But don't think that that's it. So my point is, look, if you always focus on yourself, if you always do things for yourself and you always work for yourself, you're going to end up bitter. You're going to be bitter. You're going to hate yourself. You're going to have a lot of regrets. You're going to have difficulty sleeping. You're going to be afraid of death. Do you know why? Because deep down inside, you know what you haven't done or you have done. And that's what makes people really angry. That's why when people join a religious organization or NGO and they do things for others, they really feel happy. I mean, they get pissed off, they get angry, you know, they want to leave, they want to quit and all that stuff. That's normal. That's in the beginning. But they feel really happy when they join something. Do you know why? When they join a church, when they join a temple, you know, when they join KH or whatever, and they do work, like we have 12 departments, they feel happy. And sometimes they can't explain why. Let me tell you why. Because it helps so many people. People say, hey, I don't need organized religion and I don't need organized, you know, whatever. I can do it on my own. Sure, you can. And if you can do it on your own, do it on your own. But organized religion is good because exactly as said, it's organized. You know, we have a license, we have departments, we have, you know, people in charge, we have experience. It's organized. You can just pop in and start doing something. If you join Dharma work, there are difficulties, just like any other thing you do in life. But you know what's the difference? The difference is when there's difficulties in social or Dharma work, it's not for yourself. You're absorbing difficulties for others. You're accepting problems for others. You're doing it for others. So when you accept problems for others, you don't do like Tsem does, complain. You don't get angry. You calm yourself down. Why? Because it's not for yourself anymore. It's for others. See, I'm very different than the other Tibetan lamas because of the blessings of my various teachers. I'm not going to sit around and just preach and talk. I'm going to do a lot of social work and make my students do social work. Do you know why? Because I want them to be happy. And I want them to make a lot of people happy. And I'm going to make all these social divisions, all these social departments grow and really become big. And they will become big. Why? Doing good things never gets old, never gets tired. It's better than sitting at home. And when people come to Dharma centers, sometimes they have a problem donating their services because they've been paid for their services. But you know what? If you've been paid for your services and your bills are paid, give something back. Don't always think, how can I make money off the Dharma? How can I get something for the Dharma? Do you know why? We're all together because of one reason: charity, generosity. Generosity and charity. And therefore, give back. Give back.